Council meeting in order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk call roll, please.
Evans.
Here.
Moody. Here. Grattan.
Here.
Burrows.
Here.
Mushka. Here. Runge.
Here. First item of business is agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Motion by Moreau, second by Foodie. Any further discussion, questions, or comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of previous meetings. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Grattan,
Second.
second by Muchka. Any further discussion on those? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approved minutes of intervening meetings. Motion to that effect.
Motion.
Motion by Foodie,
Second.
second by Morose. Any further discussion, questions, or comments?
Yeah, we have to make a correction to the last April meeting to make sure that Kelly was here.
Kayla?
But Kayla, I mean, and
Yeah.
she is, she
Yeah.
was not on the list or the missing persons list.
We'll get her added.
Okay, motion to approve with that amendment. Seeing none, other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public comment regarding agenda items. Anybody wishing to speak regarding the agenda items? Moving on, communications. Is there any communications from the clerk tonight?
I have no communications.
Mayor, just telling you the East Oak Street project is moving along quite well. They're working on storm sewer, all the sanitary and water main has been installed. They're working on switching some of the services over at this time, and storm sewer installation, they're hoping, according to Jason, within a couple weeks, most of the utility work will be done, and they'll start grading, getting ready for curb gutter and sidewalks. That's moved along well. Approved payments of bills, checks for $1,946,078.40. Electronic transfers of $175,000, $732.22. Is there a motion to approve the payment of bills?
So moved.
Motion by Grant, second by Runge. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Grattan.
Aye.
Runge.
Aye.
Evans.
Aye.
Moody.
Aye.
Burrows.
Aye.
Mushka.
Aye.
Payment of bills have been approved. Next, we have Mayor. City of Juneau, Office of the Mayor Proclamation, Poppy Day. Whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers, and whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, and whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, and whereas the red poppy is designated as a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of the memorial flower. And therefore, I, Dan Wagner, Mayor of the City of Juneau, do hereby proclaim May 24th, 2024 as Poppy Day, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made that ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy on this day. And in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the City of Juneau, Wisconsin, this 14th day of May 24th, May 2024, dated this 14th day of 2024. You ladies have something to say or like to share with us? Or?
Not so much to share with you. I think you covered most everything. It was wonderful what you said, what the poppy represents. We do represent the local post, Juneau 15, excuse me, and the unit also, in other words, the American Legion family. And every year we do celebrate the National Poppy Day, which is the Friday before Memorial Day, in honor of all of those Americans who have gone forwards from World War I and forward, and who have given their lives, And their whole being to protect our Constitution, our flag, and our way of life. So we thank you very much for that. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our military and their families also. It's a good thing. And if you're out and about on the Friday before Memorial Day, please stop by. We will be down by Piggly Wiggly and Subway and where else, Donna?
Quick Trip.
Quick Trip. Quick Trip has usually been real, they've had different rulings, but Quick Trip here has been absolutely wonderful for us. They have said, sure, you can stand out there, that's fine. I said, we won't block your customers, I promise.
Thank you, ladies, very much, and thank you for your
And
service
thank you
with each
very
other.
much, too.
I have one more thing that I'd like to do on behalf of our American Legion family. We would like to present you with this poppy pin and ask that you would wear it to show those that you do support our poppy.
Well, thank you very much, I sure will. Thank you.
It's one that won't flop off and fall down. Like my American Legion, when Donna keeps finding it for me. It falls, the magnet falls in the pocket and the thing goes on the floor. But yeah, no, it's very much so. So thank you all. We
Thank you
appreciate
for your
it.
time. We
Thank you for
appreciate
all
that.
you do.
Are you Kay Morose?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Donna Molly. Your husband, Paul, and I served together on the Dodge County board. So yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm married to him.
I know you are. I know you are, Kay.
Oh,
You tell him hello from me. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Actually, I put treasurer, anything to report?
I just wanted to give you guys an update on transferring those funds from Landmark to F&M and the local government pool. There's 2 accounts that remain open at Landmark and 2 CDs that are mature in July. Me and Lori are working together to, get the remainder of the funds out of there and kind of determine what we're gonna, or where they're gonna go. And there's no confirmed date for the auditor report yet to council, so keep you updated.
Just to inquire, I've done a little inquiring on my own through Landmark there, and I was kind of surprised. I was always under the impression that every account had $250,000 worth of insurance. That is not the case. If you've got multiple CDs under your name or your wife's name, you each have $250,000, and then jointly through a trust you would have $250,000. I don't know how it works for the commercial accounts, but I guess we want to make sure, because it's always been my belief that, and I think this table's belief, that we were always fully insured for every account we had individually, but it doesn't sound that way. If they're all titled the same, you only got $250,000 worth of coverage if you got $1.5 million in there.
Right.
So I guess we want to be careful on that, because I know we have been pulling some of the funds because of the insurance issues and what have you, and I know Richard was involved with that with the utility too. So I guess just want to clarify that, we might not have the insurance coverage that we think we have there, so.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why we're, moving the majority of the funds out of there.
Mhm.
We might keep, some monies in there so people are still able to go and, make their utility payments and whatnot, but, we're only gonna keep a certain amount in there, so.
And
we might
even
have
with
to do quite a
individuals'
bit of
accounts, they say just the
transferring.
wording of it can be different. If you put your wife's name before your name, it can be a different account than if you got your name followed by your wife's name, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trust accounts are one shot.
They're separate.
Yeah, well,
So you're aware of that also?
I'll double check it
Yes.
all, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, unless on the bank board.
Oh, yeah, he's on the bank board too. so, yeah. All right. Nothing else to report? Any questions for the clerk tonight? Seeing none. Written reports, building permit report, police department report, Juneau Fire and Rescue report, and Juneau EMS report. Any questions on any of those? None. Moving on. Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. Janetta's not here, so I'm assuming, Jane, you have her report tonight.
I do not.
Okay, Kay? Oh, no, you wouldn't been at the meeting either.
She was planning on it, but didn't make it either, I guess. You said you wanted to go to the last meeting.
But I didn't, I was, so. I mean, I'm sure there's, the biggest issues, they're searching for a new librarian, and applications have been coming in, and there has been a search committee appointed. And so I'm sure they will be interviewing and hope to have a good replacement.
Good.
It'd be hard to replace Jeanette.
Do we have an absolute deadline when her last day is?
My recollection from, I thought it was June 30th,
No, June 28th, I think is
or
her official.
end of June.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you. Okay. Then moving on, Plan Commission.
Plan Commission, we did meet. We discussed the fence at 541 North Main Street. They were erecting the fence and had to wait to get permits for it. And a little disappointed, the committee, that no one showed up from that address to talk about their fence, but what they're doing. So we sent them the regulations for it, requiring that it's 2 feet off the sidewalk and 2 feet off the side lot lines. So, and it's got to be only 4 feet high in the front, then it can go 6 foot. We discussed the site plans for Glass Floss. Glass Floss is expanding, what, 50%? Maybe? I mean, it's a huge
Building
building.
chunk, yeah.
It's a huge chunk, but they're expanding to the east on their property. We discussed setbacks from the neighbor's property. They were getting close with one of the driveways. Then we discussed the new welcome signs offered by Automated Pet Care, which is now Whisker, same company. There's going to be one on the north end of town by Archie Monuments, and then one on the south end. It's going to move from the location it's at now on the west side of 26. It's going to be on the north side of 26, up by the car wash, where the sign used to be years ago, if anybody remembers that. And has gotten permission to put it up in that area up there. So then we discussed the comprehensive plan, and I'm supposed to give a report on that next meeting after looking things over more thoroughly. So that was Plan Commission. Then I have a resolution to read. Resolution 17.2024. Approve 2 welcome signs for the city of Juneau. Whereas the city of Juneau, Wisconsin was presented with the concept of 2 proposed welcome signs, and whereas Automated Pet Care will provide at no cost to the city 2 welcome signs situated at the north and south ends of the city, Highway 26, to welcome traffic into Juneau. And whereas the Plan Commission recommends approving the 2 welcome signs for the city of Juneau as shown in Exhibit A, and whereas the Utility Commission approves the donation of $850 for WPPI's community contributions for the electric portion of this project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of Juneau accepts the aforementioned recommendation. Passed by the Common Council of the City of Juneau this 14th day of May 2024, I move for passage of Resolution 17/2024.
Motion by Grattan, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Runge. Any further discussion?
I have a couple of questions. So these are replacing like the sign,
Yes.
they're replacing the old sign.
The blue sign, yeah. It's
Okay.
Welcome to Juneau.
But like the one that's going north, is that on city property or county property?
That's on Archie Monument property, which has a 99-year lease. Andrew just went through that a year ago when we addressed this project.
Okay, so they're okay with this. We don't need anything in writing that we're changing the sign or making it bigger.
In fact, that building has recently been sold. And Wayne Somrud, the owner, had been inquiring, when's that sign going up? When's that sign going up? He was looking forward. And I did ask him when he sold the building that the new owner is fully aware of it and whatever too, so. The new person is named Andrew Zipperer. Zipperer.
Because there is a little bit of a combination, it's a welcome sign, but it
Yep.
also is somewhat of a commercial sign, right? I
Yep.
mean, it's like home of the home of the litter robot,
Right.
which, you know, whatever land this is on, you know, it's more than just a welcome sign. It's advertising
Great.
that, and we don't want to get in trouble with anybody because they would say it is more than a welcome
Yep.
sign.
No, they saw the first
They
concept.
saw it and
They first saw the first
They
concept.
sign off on it,
Oh,
or?
Well, they gave us the 99-year lease for
Okay.
the slot there, so. Basically, Whisker, formerly Automated Pet Care Products, wanted to be, they held off on this until they were the #1 employer in Juneau. So now with over 400 employees, they're even surpassed the county in regards to having employees, so.
And I know that the cat came off. Did the
Yep.
planning commission, I'm just gonna say, I find that emblem a little odd.
That was substituted for the cat,
Yeah.
and that can be detached.
By whose permission?
Don't need any permission. It'll be the city owned after this thing is erected. We take full ownership of it, what have you. This was a pipe dream of a guy from Michigan, and he was really disappointed that they took the cat off, and this was his next.
I mean, it's the sign that welcomes people to our town, and it has a visual litter box and says litter robot
Mhm.
on the sign.
Yep.
I would have thought that they donated money towards a sign or somehow that was put on that. Why can't it just say welcome to Juneau? Population or something, I don't know.
County seat.
It's
County
Population.
I guess it's an added incentive for, that they do get some credit for it. But whatever, so.
I mean, I understand that they're paying for the sign.
Yeah.
The actual litter box just is a little off-putting for me. I will say that. I think that, if it said welcome to Juneau, we had our city motto, and then underneath, maybe home of the litter robot, I mean, it'd be a little more
And
palatable.
of course, there will be the totem poles added to this. That'll be the city's responsibility for the other organizations and stuff like that, with the Lions Club and several of the other ones that are alongside the signs right now. So those will be off on the side. But he said that thing is removable, but he says he was hoping they could get at least some pictures and stuff of it before it did get removed, so.
Okay, so they're open, then we might not.
They're
be keeping
open,
that.
yep, they're open to us
I'd
removing it.
personally rather have a cat than a litter box.
I know,
Not that I'm even a cat person.
I mean, at least the litter
Are they
box.
paying for the sign?
Yes.
They're paying for the sign.
I don't like the actual word litter being on it. I think at least that we could say, that was just a cool design situation.
Yeah, I thought about that.
But the word
Avant
litter next
garde
to
here,
it, I
but-
think is,
Yeah, I mean, I think, this is what I will worry about, that there's gonna be kind of this running joke, right? The city of Juneau is the city, home of the litter box. I mean, I honestly,
What's that?
and it's a big sign, it's a huge sign.
Why don't they put their actual business name on it?
I guess you could ask that. We didn't really
What's
delve,
your headquarters?
we kind of thought that the black cat was a negative.
It's a huge.
Yeah,
That's, so we kind of shot that down. They were a little disappointed, and then
Put
he
a
came
white
back
cat
with
on
this.
I'm,
No, they need a cat.
These things are to the
The
tune
cat
of
also.
$38,000 a piece, these signs, and so like I said, I imagine they want a brand in there. I told them the reason it was kind of negative with the black cat, and it was overbearing with the branding, it drew too much attention to them.
I'm kind of with Jane, the cat would be a little better than the litter box, I don't know. I'm not.
Maybe go back to the table and see if they'd be opposed to putting their business name on it instead of,
Home of Bottle Pets or Whiskers
Whisker?
yeah.
Whisker?
would be better than Litter Robot or the cat.
Yeah, Whiskers would
Right.
be better
This
than,
litter box is not a good reflection.
Right, I mean,
Well, litter robots.
It's litter robot.
yeah, I know it's a litter
Most people aren't
robot.
gonna know what that is anyway,
Right.
if they're driving into
In
town.
what context?
I
is
can't,
this
I
litter
can't see
used?
anybody driving into town being offended by litter robots.
It's not gonna be the people driving into town, it's the people that live here. I mean,
As much as they do for the city, they can, you know, they can be offended.
okay,
They
I
do
mean,
an awful,
I'm
they do
proud
an
to-
awful lot.
I'm proud
I
to see
know,
that
I
on
know
TV.
Whiskers
That
do a
shows
lot.
And I know they're an
lot.
awesome company to work for,
Yeah.
because I know people that work there love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are doing advertising
how
and
well they
located in
treat their
Juneau,
employees.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, located in Juneau.
I mean,
yeah.
you can't, kind of, how do you say, you can't buy that kind of advertising. They got a good reputation,
They are
they're
buying
worldwide.
Depends
They're-
what
they actually
advertising
are
we're
buying
talking
it,
about.
though.
Juneau is a
They
little
are
box.
buying this advertisement.
Basically like a billboard.
You don't work Sundays?
No, I'm not, it's a great employer, I'm not saying that, but my first reaction
Exactly.
is really, I would rather Home of Whiskers incorporate whatever it's called.
Yeah, they'd be more professional looking, I think.
I mean,
And
would
leave-
they,
Leave the litter robot up there, or the
Yes.
emblem up there?
I mean, if you say it's removable, it
Or
is,
just take it off.
you know,
Completely.
What if litter robot was the
Not a
brown
manual.
color, the yellow color?
No.
I think if it didn't say litter robot, I wouldn't know that that was a litter box.
no, that's true.
So if it just said home of whisker, I think that it could stay on there, right? Because then I wouldn't know that it's a litter box.
Right, I thought, oh, maybe
I think
that's.
when I see the word
I thought,
litter
oh, a
directly next
magnifying
to
glass,
a little
you
hole
know,
that
take a
cat
look
can
into
walk
Juneau.
What if it said home of Whisker and then in little words underneath, said manufacturer of the litter robot? You know, because you can hardly read that. Underneath it says by
It's
Whisker.
easy. Yeah, it does say by whisker.
Yeah.
If we just switch those two.
Yeah, I'm not against approving it, but I'm wondering if you could go back and ask
Yeah.
maybe that sort of thing, that Whiskers would be, because you can tell there's a difference of opinion about this. I say it's off-putting.
Put a lot,
I
lot more
agree, it's
thought into
off-putting.
it than I did.
Just ask them.
So home of whisker, and would they be able to put the litter box below that?
In the font that they currently have, the by whisker,
Small
Yeah.
font.
very small font.
Yeah.
Or smaller.
Yeah,
You'd have to walk up to that sign.
Or do we put litter robot on top of and then remove it?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
too bad we didn't have like a quote or a motto or something that we could add to that and then have,
We do, the state with the heart in it.
like, yeah, but you know, I mean, kind of incorporate us a little bit with it.
Well, welcome to the litter box of the world,
Yeah.
Juneau, Wisconsin, how's that?
I mean, that's kind of what it's
That's what it
saying.
says.
Welcome to the litter box of the state.
I can't see anybody relating to that unless you really know, you work there or there's something, you know,
Yeah, it's litter robot, it's not litter box.
but. Right.
Well, it just means electronic litter box.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a nice design for a sign. though.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
very
not- yeah,
pretty. It is very
And it would
pretty.
look impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
it would look impressive. Do we meet all our, we have a lot of sign ordinances. We've cleared that hurdle too, I assume.
It will, yes.
Okay, because, some of us get
Will it have
cited for
lights
too
on
many
it?
signs.
This is a lit sign, yes.
Okay.
And this would be tied off the streetlight circuit, so it wouldn't mandate an extra
Are the
electric
lights
meter or
like
anything like that.
inside that,
It's all LED.
okay, that we won't have projected lights on?
Nope.
It's just
From
wondering.
the inside.
I don't know, you want to accept it with the change of wording?
Home of Whiskers, and just like you recommended, just switch the litter robot, the font and everything.
They may just pull the whole, I don't know. He was kind of disappointed when I told him what move over the cat, but
When you
But-
want your business name to be bigger, that would be like a positive thing. Like, I would want my business before the product, as far as size goes.
And they should be proud of their business.
yeah, they are, yeah. Yeah, like I said, this was to the tune, they had an even more elaborate sign that the former VP of Operations presented to us, and when the cost came back, it was $200,000, so, you know, they were able to keep these under 100, the two of them here, so.
Yeah, most places would probably rather be identified by their name than their product, like you said.
Right, so I would think
And
that
then
might
people
be
can
an
say, oh, who's Whiskers? Well, then they can be told, well, they make this product. No, it's an excellent business, and Juneau's very fortunate to have them.
So where do we stand?
Home of Whiskers. Litter
It's probably gonna be Whisker Inc., right?
What their business
Whisker
name is.
Incorporated.
Yeah.
Are they I would think they're Whisker Incorporated,
I
aren't they?
would assume.
I would assume they.
Oh, that's another story. That's a whole different thing. They go back to their automatic pet care products because that's the founder of the company sold off a portion of it, so he's at 52%, and the other partners are at 48 or something like that. And that's when the Whisker name came up, whatever. So.
Yeah, they're ultimately automated pet care products.
That's their official
And then
name.
Whiskers is a
Whisker is like your brand name in your
Trademark name.
card or
It's a
something like
trademark
that,
name.
like the Chevy Blazer. You know, Blazer would be the model or whatever. So
Oh, I wonder if that's why they had that, like that versus their name.
Well, they think they're known for their litter robot even more than the name of the company, perhaps.
Probably so.
Right?
If you look them up, that's what they're known for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Doesn't come up Whisker.
But you can still have that underneath their business name. That'd still be
So-
visible.
I have approved changing the wording to flip them.
Business name and then litter robot.
Okay. Okay.
But we don't want to scuttle the whole deal.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know what, where are these folks? I mean, are they going to scuttle the whole deal if we modify it? I mean, I haven't been in this discussion at all, so I don't know where they stand.
yeah, and we didn't talk about that. Plan Commission had no issues about that at all. You know, they understood where they were coming from and what have you. So Plan Commission didn't even question that. The cat was the big thing that we felt that was just too much branding for their company. That big black cat sitting on that pillar. If you're a cat lover, I guess maybe you feel differently. I don't know. So we have a motion and a second to accept it as is, but I don't want to call the question unless these two gentlemen want to amend their motion to keep it moving, I guess. Dave, you made the motion.
Well, to amend it to approve it with wording changes as we discussed.
Fine with me, we can get it back to them that way. You okay with that, Jim?
No, I think we should leave it as is.
So I don't have an amended motion, so I guess I'll entertain a new motion on the floor.
Don't we have to vote on the motion that was seconded?
Yep.
I think we have to vote on the
You
motion.
do have to
that was
vote on the
seconded.
motion second.
Okay, without an amendment, okay. I was just giving them the opportunity to change their motion.
Right.
Okay. Okay, motion by Grattan, second by Runge. Further discussion, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Evans? Oh, excuse me. Groton?
Aye.
Runge?
Aye.
Evans?
Aye.
Foodie?
Are we approving the?
As is.
As is.
As is.
I will say nay.
Maros?
No.
Mushka?
No.
Oh boy. Aye.
So, it comes back to me. I guess I'll vote in favor, but with stipulation that I will take it to them about removing it or changing their, I guess I'll give them the opportunity to correct the language on it or to change it as you see, as you offered up here tonight. But I will vote in favor of approving the sign and hope we don't lose the sign. But I will take it back with that stipulation that they consider changing the language on there. So I think they may be open to that. So. All right. We have Resolution 17, 2024 has passed. Anything else from Plan Commission, Dave?
Nope.
Finance, Richard.
All right, let's talk about something a little less controversial. Well, maybe not.
We're lining up here, I don't know.
The Finance Committee talked about borrowing money. So last month I reported that the fire department had requested around $400,000 to refurbish ladder truck 2371. And part of that cost has to be paid in 2024. So this spurred the idea of borrowing funds this year. Megan contacted Baird to see if it was feasible to borrow this year to cover the spending on next year's budget and beyond. After studying a preliminary financing plan and reviewing capital requests for 2025, the committee voted to approve borrowing $2.5 million for the city and $500,000 for the utility department. Justin from Baird will be here at our June council meeting to provide details about the proposed loan. So there'll be no resolution on this tonight. Excuse me. So to determine how much we should borrow, department leaders were asked to submit their 2025 capital budget requests. And the requests that they submitted total nearly $4.4 million. The committee looked through it and we ended up approving capital requests worth nearly $2.15 million at this time. Some of the big ticket items that we approved were the reconstruction of the rest of East Oak Street, that would be the downtown section, resurfacing East Oak Grove Street and Northwestern Avenue, that's the part here that goes by Piggly Wiggly, and refurbishing the ladder truck. Other items can be seen in the finance minutes, and that was our meeting, that's what we did.
Any questions for Richard?
Of course, I have a question.
Of course.
And I appreciate, I've been in finance and how difficult it is to hone all this down. So I don't have a challenge with your decisions there, but my question is, you know, this is again a lot of money to borrow, but we still have like $300,000 of undesignated ARPA funds. Should we not be designating that? Because couldn't some of those be paying for some of this to lessen the burden of borrowing?
Well, last meeting, we had a discussion about the ARPA funds. You know, we talked about the light poles and then was that an appropriate thing to spend the ARPA funds on and that kind of thing. So, you know, what is the appropriate thing for the ARPA funds?
Well,
Is it capital projects?
I think so. I mean, a few months ago, you know, when I said, well, what are we going to spend the ARPA funds on? I think the mayor's response was he thought it would be the road project. So I think, you know, there's a wide variety of things that can be spent on.
Yep.
But it would seem that that decision of where we're spending $300,000 should be made before we decide on the amount. I mean, why borrow if we've got $300,000 there? And shouldn't we designate those funds?
Well, we have to borrow in order to get ladder truck 2371 refurbished. So then the question came up, what else is coming up in the future, you know, for 2025? And that's where this amount came from.
Maybe I'm the only one, but I just feel like, why would you borrow $300,000 extra? We could say, if we designate $300,000 for East Oak Street reconstruction, we can decrease that amount by $300,000.
And this might be off base too, but I thought that there were a presentation by the Chamber of Commerce asking about some of the upgrades that we could do to downtown. And my impression was is that maybe some of those ARPA funds would be used for some of those improvements.
But we haven't gotten a price for any of that stuff.
Right.
But
So-
that brings us full circle, right? Because until we decide that, shouldn't we be deciding that before we decide how much, is this body saying, yes, those ARPA funds are gonna go to that? I mean, I'm, obviously you probably know my position, I'm not supportive. I would support street reconstruction, but I would think that this body should decide what $300,000 are gonna go for before we say to the taxpayer, we're gonna pay interest on, 2.5, well, then it's extra 500,000 for utility. It just seems prudent to designate that money before we borrow.
Well, there wouldn't be any problem using that money towards that, but we kind of focused on the upgrades for that street project, the things that are over and beyond the norm, and then the balance could be used as well. And
But then but there still hasn't been a vote. No one has voted. I mean, we voted for the street lights. Shouldn't this body decide that that's what the ARPA funds should go to?
But like Megan said, we don't have any costs for those upgrades at this point. All we got is for the base street project. And I certainly couldn't foresee that those upgrades would be to the tune of 300,000 by any means, that the balance would be put back into the general fund or towards additional road. We already looked at road projects. We don't have enough money even with this borrowing to do them all.
Well,
We've got
never enough, right?
Yeah,
Never
so,
enough.
so
I
that
understand
money
that.
would be utilized probably ultimately for street reconstruction or maintenance, which would be grind and relay like redoing Center Street. The Center Street isn't part of this borrowing at all. That's gonna be pushed off because of the cost. So these dollars could be used for that as well.
I guess I don't understand why we can't decide what these dollars are going to be used for, because say we use them for this, and we want to later, when we have an amount of money that the downtown wants to do, well, then we can decide on that.
Then those funds wouldn't be available. They'll be earmarked for general reconstruction.
But at some point, there is a decision about what these $300,000 need to be used for.
Absolutely.
And I want to be, and it has to be absolutely transparent. I do not want somehow, oh, we have, now we have 300,000, now we can do this downtown, until we decide as a body that that is good stewardship of our tax dollar money.
It's probably something for finance and.
We brought it to finance. So I don't know if it needs. to be
We're in the
as-
early stages here,
Yeah.
trying to pick and choose. We kind of just did everybody was very good at bringing numbers in a short period of time to the finance committee to review. And we tried to put it on a priority that we thought best served the community. And
I'm not taking issue with the choices of where the money's going. I'm just taking issue with 2.5 million when we have 300,000 dangling with no designation.
yeah, I think it's confident we can spend that 2.5 and still have a place for that 300,000. There's no two ways about that. Megan's shaking her head there too.
We're catching up on a lot of capital projects that have been submitted year after year that I've been on the council that have been pushed off and pushed off. And some of them are being addressed with this money.
Yes, they are. I'm not taking issue with
I understand
that.
what you're saying, but I don't, I mean, yes, maybe the finance should look into, or somebody should look into what we should spend the $300,000 on.
It's not that it won't be addressed and it won't be transparent. It's just that it's not being addressed right now. Right now, what was being addressed is the capital projects that if we're gonna do a borrowing, all departments were asked to present their capital projects. I don't think it's part of this discussion. I think we need to discuss that and make it transparent to the community, like you said. I mean, I don't think it should mean that we shouldn't be borrowing for these capital projects. I think the ARPA funds is a separate discussion at another meeting to address it.
Okay, but I guess I would like that sooner rather than later, since we've talked about ARPA funds literally for what, 2 years?
Yeah, and as the mayor stated, there are things that need to be done in the city of Juneau to spend the ARPA funds on, and that's a separate discussion at another meeting.
I'll be honest with you, I have a very hard time approving loaning or borrowing money for projects such as downtown, which is not a project that's been approved that I know of. There's no
Or
plans.
It's not on this,
It's not on this
it's not part of the
borrowing.
Isn't
borrowing.
that part of the?
No, it is not.
Is that East Oak?
That's just the
That's
street.
street.
As
It's
it
the
is.
street.
Yes,
Just to
as
redo
is.
it as it currently
There's
exists.
none of those
Just
projects
the
on this
street.
list.
Okay.
That's why
Well, I
I'm
guess
saying
that
it's different.
goes back to DPW. I mean, and that must have been a recommendation,
Yeah.
because we started East Oak.
Right.
All right, if we borrow 2.5 million at 4%, how many years is that? Like, is it gonna be a bond issue?
Yes.
Yes, yep, and it's 15 years.
15 years?
Mhm.
Okay.
And another thing that this affects is I just lost my train of thought, what is the funds that we get from the state that's based off the debt that the city has?
Our borrowing limit?
Well, and I guess we need to keep in mind as well, Justin's gonna be here next month for these types of questions.
Right.
Anything having to do with borrowing, I don't have all the details.
Okay.
He couldn't get them to me in time, so anything, I guess, pertinent to that, we may need to hold off, because that's not really on this agenda as well. It's just, he is reporting what happened at finance.
Nobody has a crystal ball, Jim, as far as what's gonna happen after the election. We can only hope that interest rates will go down, and then we are not tied into this, we can refinance again. So we're not locked into that 4% interest rate, so we kind of figured you probably want adequate funds right now in case it goes the other way.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Well, no.
because I don't want to be borrowing at 7% in 2026 or 27.
You know,
For the
you know,
election.
People are not, they're not refinancing bonds like they used to. And people are sitting on, nobody's gonna refinance and take 2% or 2.5% when they're getting 4. They're not gonna cash them in. That's just the way life is now.
Right.
And so, you know, they'd have to be a whole other bond offer. And, you know, I guess, I got questions for him next month, I'll ask him, because, you know, I wanna know what is it the standard 5% fee? Or there's usually a standard fee for bond, and most of the time it's 5%.
Yeah,
Somewhere
but
in that
I
area.
don't have
And
any
what
of
our
that
total
information.
cost, our total payoff back is gonna be.
Yeah, yep, and I don't have any of that information right now.
Okay.
He'll have all those answers.
We're pretty early.
Yeah.
That's why she wanted to start now.
Well, yeah, we gotta, you know, and can our taxpayers, as the way the economy's going now, are they gonna be able to afford the increase in taxes? That's always gotta be, you know, the main consideration. It's easy to borrow money, as most people know, it's harder to pay it off.
Yeah. We've been very successful with our borrowing in the past, and I don't see that this would go any other way. And he will be able to answer those questions for you, Jim,
Right.
next. Because like I said, this is just in the infancy right now. We're just
Okay.
breaking out of the blocks right now, so.
Yeah.
I will say the key that we can put it on the agenda for finance this next month, to have a discussion on what to do, how to designate the ARPA funds.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I mean,
Yeah.
so it stops rolling around, you know. And I
We
think it's
talk
time
about it every once in a while, but yeah, maybe it's time to get on
to decide.
to decide what.
Where this
we should
money is gonna go.
dedicate for. Absolutely.
Kay wants a pickleball court.
No, there's nothing I
I
have.
And meanwhile, it's.
Nothing that I have in mind.
investigating those CIP.
Something
And
that
like
was-
5.5% probably.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's there.
Seem appropriate.
It started at like 266,000, I think it's up to like 303,000 right now.
Yeah, they're currently invested in the LGIP fund, and like Megan said, it's probably at like 5.5% earning interest right now.
In our state pool, we could borrow money and make money. No. Okay, anything else?
Nope, that's.
Moving on, personnel. Okay,
We did not meet.
public safety. Jane,
We did not meet.
public works, David.
Public Works, we did. There were missing property pins at 641 East Oak Street. Jason Lau came to the meeting, and after good discussion, he is going to locate the front pins with the flags for the gentleman. Review and discuss renting or lending tables to Dodgen Schools for the end-of-year party. Hauling the tables back and forth, all the work it take, the amount of lost time to the city. We'd like to work with the school, but the thought that was that maybe the shop class could build tables for the school for those purposes, and then when they have the other picnic parties out there, they'd have their own tables to take care of their picnics. And then we went into closed session to have a discussion, and we came out of that with recommending that we give Joe Litke a raise as the street superintendent. Joe was put in a position mid-year and has done a great job. He got thrown into a kettle of fish, and he's done very well with it. And the committee feels that he would warrant a raise for that. And we didn't determine how much. We figured that was personnel's job. And that was our meeting.
Any questions for Dave?
And just to clarify, we have a wage scale, it's based on time. All right, so he will get a raise because he's got the year in. So our wage scale is time, not performance-based. Just want to clarify that. There may be a need to increase the department head's wage. And we are going to be looking at that at budget time. And so the department heads know, and we talked about this in personnel, again, to gather information so that we have comparable wages. So he may be on the low end. I mean, my initial investigation last year was he was on the low end of what that position is. But our wage scale is really time-based. And we were really trying as a personnel to deal with the wages at one time in the year. So if the wage scale is too low, we'll address it at budget time. I did talk to Joe.
Don't know which one to ask, if I should move on or not.
No,
Okay. Anything else, David?
but I felt that, I should clarify that, because I think sometimes that gets confused here.
Moving on, cable TV, okay.
Jane?
Cable TV.
Oh, excuse me, Jane.
That's okay. We met last night, and we had majorly just 2 items of significance on the agenda. The first was to approve purchase of 2 laptops. We did a lot of, had a lot of discussion what we could do maybe instead of replacing the Apple. The problem is the Apple ID password recovery has been a bit trying, and we came up with different solutions for coming up with it. So David Bennett will be making some phone calls and trying some other things out to try to be able to recover the Apple iPad, which I know personally is a hard thing to do. And new MacBooks is what he was looking for. The cost is $800 to $900 for refurbished ones, $2,000 to $4,000 for new ones, and that's for both of them, not each. Then the other issue that we talked about is our Nexus, which is the broadcast server, does not communicate with the new laptop. And the problem being is that we need access to the internet. So then we talked about, we did not have any complaints because David comes in once, possibly twice every week to make sure everything is running smoothly. We haven't had any complaints. And also, just checking into maybe putting our council and our utility commission meetings actually on our city website. So it's something just that we're discussing. And that's my report.
Any questions for Kane?
For Jane, I'm sorry.
Next time, we're gonna move around.
Yeah. There's
Okay.
just a lot of, searching for alternative ways of doing things.
Thank you, Jane. CDA, nothing to report there. Rec committee,
We did meet, that was just, we talked about quotes for capital requests, which Jacob was gonna take to the finance, and he gave some updates about, what's going on with rec. So, of course, rage soccer's going on, and volleyball is starting, and the pickleball courts will be outside now. Yeah, things are going well with rec.
any questions for Kay?
Yeah. I'll take them. Where would this meeting be without my questions?
Utility commission, Richard, Dave?
I wasn't there, so I'll pass the lead.
You gotta prepare him for that.
Sorry, Dave.
Yep. Yeah, all right. Well, we met, we had high sewer losses this spring because of the construction project downtown and the rain getting into the storm sewer, or the sanitary sewer. So, but now that it's closed up, we should be back on normal track. We are also looking at a laptop for taking meeting minutes. It's in the 2024 budget, so it didn't need approval, but it was discussed that we're gonna get one. We have a scholarship program through the utility, and we had 2 people participate and ask for that, and we gave both of those people, the applicants, the money. It'd be nice if other years that other Juneau students in Dodgeland would apply for that there's a running going on. When we have money that can be used for any education, it was sure it'd be nice if it was utility based, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah. One requirement is that you are a Dodgeland student, or well, not Dodgeland. Yeah. No. You have to live in Juneau.
Part of our utility system.
Right, because you could be in Watertown at school.
Lakeside Lutheran.
Right. All right. We had half as many disconnects this year as last year, which is awesome when April 15th rolled around. So people are paying their dues as they're supposed to be. We discussed donating the work, the money, and to get the work done for the signs for Whiskers that we discussed, that we'll try and get the wording changed on. Let's see, what else did we talk about? Where did it go? I lost it. We discussed the sewer field, how it's getting put back together, wastewater treatment plant. We discussed that there was a 14-inch plug valve that was missing on the project bid, and it is getting installed. It's getting in there so that it'll help with the project when they're done. The storage garage is up. Building is going fine. What was that song?
I encourage,
If you want it, you got it here.
You got it here? Yeah.
I encourage anybody that
Okay.
is interested in viewing the construction that's going on out there, just show up during the working hours out there, and I'm sure one of the plant technicians will take you around. There's really some awesome stuff going on out there, and you can understand why the magnitude of construction leads to the cost that we're going to be paying. But as I said before, a treatment plant lasted for 40 years, and even design spec today, they only expect them to last 20 years. So we did pretty well with our existing plants, and hoping everything goes on. So far, we've been doing really well as far as cost overruns. We haven't really had any. We've had some cost credits and what have you. So we've been watching that pretty close as the utility commission, and I think we're going to be all right when it's all said and done. We will have a state-of-the-art facility that can be expanded as needed or throttled back as needed. Kind of the unique setup that we have there now, that we're able to set the plant for the flows that we have in any given day, and we can expand it as needed for added flows. So definitely gives us some flexibility in attracting industry into the community and what have you for being able to do that. So, anything else for utility commission?
No questions for me.
Okay. Thank you, Kate.
I knew that'd be a positive note at the end of the meeting.
Thank you, David. Any old business tonight? Any new business? Approved provincial licenses for 45 days, there are none. Approved regular bartenders licenses for 2023, expires June 30th, 2024. There are none. No further discussion. Entertaining a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Foodie.
Second.
Second by Morose. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. This meeting is adjourned.